Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a Java program which results in file not found exception. Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. So let's get started. I'll switch to Eclipse IDE. Here I'm going to create a random class with some random name. I'll just name this class, let's say as class 17. Class 17, let's say, with main method I'll create. After I create this with main method, so inside the main method, I'm going to write some code which is going to result you in file not found exception, one of the types of exception in Java. This file not found exception is a checked exception in Java because Java compiler, before you run the code, will suggest that at this particular line of code, there is a possibility of file not found exception. Okay. So when I write the code itself, the compiler, Java compiler during the compile time, before you run the code itself, will suggest that there is a possibility of file not found exception. So I'll show you. So first I will go and represent a file. Let's say file1 is equal to new file. Okay. New file and Control Shift O. And here we have this file constructor where we have to give the path of the file. For example, under this project, there are a lot of files, right? Already there are a lot of files exist, like abc.txt file is there and all those stuff, right? We already have this abc.txt file, mo2d.txt file, xyz.txt file, like that many files are there. So I'll take one of the file, let's say, which is not there here. Okay, I'll take a file which doesn't exist here. So let's say I'll take arun.txt file, which is not available. You see, if you see this project, do you see any arun.txt file available here? No, arun.txt file is not available here. So intentionally, I'm giving a particular file which doesn't exist in this particular project at that location, but is a Java compiler giving us any error that, at this line? This is just for representing a file. File predefined class in Java is used only for representing a file. It doesn't matter if you run the code, nothing will happen, guys. Okay, it just represents a file. Whether the file exists or not doesn't matter for this one. And if I simply say end of this program, and run the code, end of this program will be printed without any problem. You'll not get any exception, etc. Because here file predefined class purpose is only to represent a file. Whether the file exists at the given path or doesn't exist doesn't matter. So under the project, arun.txt file is not there. Still, you see the program got executed, no exception came. That's okay because this is a file predefined class which just represents a file. But when you want to perform operations on the file which it doesn't exist, for example, here file class is just representing a file. So when I run the code also, nothing is happening. But if I try to perform some operation on the file, which is not actually available in this project location as given here, then what will happen? Then we should get a exception like file not found exception. Like there are many predefined classes in Java using which we can read and write into the file. One of the thing I'll take, for example, for reading, right, we can take file input stream, or we can take buffer reader. Like that, many things are there, guys. Okay, buffer reader is there. Yeah, we'll go with buffer reader. Buffered reader dr is equal to new buffer reader. Okay, I can create a lot of examples, but I am taking only one for now. Pour the mouse on this buffer reader and import this buffer reader from java.io package. And here the constructor cannot be empty. We have to pass the reader here. File reader I have to pass. So for that, I'll write file reader. Fr is equal to new file reader. Okay. Control Shift O and pour the mouse on this file reader and import this file reader from java.io package. And after importing, click on save here. Let's wait. It's happening here. File reader import. It's not importing actually. Okay, already import statement has been added. Just close this file once. Some temporary glitch here. I'll go to the location where that has been created and again I will open. So even after importing, also things are not happening. Over the mouse here, what is happening? Let's see. The java.file cannot be resolved is saying somehow. I'll update the project. Right click, Maven, update project. Sometimes the temporary glitches will come, guys. Okay. Even after I provide the import statement, the error is not going off. So it's better you update the Java project once if the things are not working. Why? This should not happen, but if it happens, we have to take care of like that. So still it is not working, guys. It is not working. I'll try to clean this. If it is still not working, as a measure, right, I'll first clean it. Maven clean, I'll say. I'll try Maven clean. So I have done the Maven clean, guys. I have done the Maven clean. So it should say build success. Now I'll update it again. Right click, run as, not right click Maven, update project. Click on OK and see whether this error will be resolved or not. If that still doesn't solve the problem, we have to think of another way. Yeah, the problem has not been resolved, guys. I'll just restart my Eclipse IDE. In that case, we have to restart our Eclipse IDE, guys. You see, this kind of situation doesn't come. So if it comes in real time, I'm also showing you what you have to do to overcome the problem. I'm unable to import the file reader due to some XYZ reasons that is happening in Eclipse IDE. So I have restarted my Eclipse IDE. So let's the Eclipse IDE restart. So I have restarted my Eclipse IDE and I have removed this line basically. Okay, it was resulting the error, so I removed that and press Control Shift O. Again, I typed file reader. File reader FR is equal to new file reader. After I did that, I got this error. I hovered the mouse on this and freshly imported this. And now the error is gone. Earlier the error was coming, now it's not coming. In this file reader, the constructor cannot be empty. You have to give the path of the file. This particular file I'll give. So this is a file, where this particular file object is representing this file, but this particular file doesn't exist at that particular location in the project. So in that situations, what's going to happen? Guys? Okay, the file doesn't exist in the project. You see, arun.txt file is nowhere in the project. So here I'll give this FR. I'll give this FR here in the buffer reader. Now, as you can see, the file reader is giving you a possibility of exception, a checked exception. File not found exception is possible here. If the file that you have given here doesn't exist at the given path under the project, if we don't find arun.txt, there is a possibility of exception. That's what is Java compiler saying. I would like to ignore the suggestion given by the compiler. I'll ignore the compiler by shutting its mouth. I don't want to handle the exception. I'll ignore that, so that when I run this code in the output, this particular line will result in, that's line 14 is going to result in which exception? File not found exception. Okay, we'll get file not found exception because arun.txt file is not really available at that particular project location. So at line 14, we got this exception known as file not found exception. Okay, we got file not found exception here, guys. Because of that reason only, just give me a second, let me drag it properly. We got file not found exception because of that reason, because arun.txt file, as it's clearly saying that arun.txt, the system cannot find the file specified. So the line 4 is resulting in file not found exception. Java compiler was very smart that it was actually suggesting that there is a possibility of exception here, but we have not listened to the Java compiler and we have not handled the exception using try catch block. Rather, we have ignored or shut the mouth of the compiler using the throws file not found exception. So Java compiler has shut its mouth, but ultimately if the file really doesn't exist in this project, we are going to get that exception. If I give a proper file name like abc.txt file, which is there under the project, you are not going to get this exception, guys. You see, you will not get this exception this time because abc.txt file is available under the project. End of this program will be printed, you see, without any exception. Only this exception will come when you try to give a name of the file which actually is not there at that given location, and you're trying to read the text from the file and whatever it is. You are trying to perform read operation on this file which doesn't exist at that particular given location. In such kind of cases, Java will give you an exception. Java compiler will suggest that there is a possibility of exception, and if we even ignore that exception in the runtime also, we are going to get an exception like file not found exception. Okay, so this is how. So if you get this kind of question in the interview, like write a Java program which generates this file not found exception, you can write like this, file not found exception, you can generate like this. Okay, so hope guys you got the answer for this question with practical demonstration. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye.